I guess I didn't want to watch YouTube videos. I guess I just wanted to chill.
Jared, I got a video for you.
Have you ever seen someone hit a home run without holding a bat? Well, it's happened in MLB multiple times and play for two different teams in the same game. All of these things have happened in baseball before, where strange, rare events seem to be going on all the time. This guy caught a ball without looking. This guy caught a ball without a glove on accident. This guy's helmet ball before, where strange, rare events seem to be going all the time. This guy caught a ball without looking. This guy caught a ball without a glove on accident.
Oh, his backhand grabbed
This guy
it.
made his bat defy gravity. These things will probably never happen in MLB again, but none of them are the rarest play in history. That happened in 1999.
I'm gonna stretch
it
that.
wasn't even an actual play and somehow made this random lady rich. In fact, the rarest events in baseball often don't even happen on the field. They happen in the stands, where the odds of catching a ball at an MLB game is
Bro,
1
catching a
in
ball with a
1200.
baby in your hands
1200 MLB
is
games,
next
you can
level.
expect to catch one
That's-
foul ball. So when this
that's
guy got
crazy.
one, he was ecstatic and immediately started texting his friend. But before he could even send the text, the very next pitch was fouled off directly to
Jesus.
him. The odds of catching two balls in a game is 1 in 1,440,000. But the odds of catching two on back-to-back pitches, according to MLB, is 1 in 10 million. Thinking this would probably never happen again, the Mariners invited him on the field, got the ball signed by the player who hit them, and let him throw out the first pitch. Then, 3 months later, something even rarer happened. This A's fan caught a foul ball in the first inning. Just 4 batters later,
He'll foul it back. And it's the same dude.
then, just a few minutes after that,
It's amazing when you look at it. Oh, no. I told you he wasn't done. I told you.
supposedly the odds of catching 3
That
foul
is
balls in one
crazy.
game is 1 in 185 million.
He jumped for
And
that
he
shit
did it
too.
in one inning. The odds of catching a foul ball is low. The odds that you hit a foul ball into the stands and it hits a fan is even lower. But the odds that you hit a foul ball into the stands and it hits a fan who just so happens to be your own mother is thankfully
What
even
the
lower. Happened to Denard Span in 2010. Yes, in 2010, he treated his mom to free tickets to a spring training game. He got her the best seats possible, right next to the Twins dugout in the first row. And in the first inning, he hit a screaming line drive directly at her. This was extremely serious and scary. As she was getting medical attention, Span tried to stay in the game. He struck out on the next pitch, got out his next at-bat, and decided he couldn't focus and took himself out of the game. Meanwhile, his mother took it like a champ. She refused to go to the hospital, stayed the entire game, and after the game said she was feeling amazing. She's likely tougher than most MLB players, but maybe not as tough as Hunter Pence, who fouled a pitch directly off his face, somehow developed a black eye in less than a minute, stayed in the game, and somehow got a hit and a walk with a black eye. Pence is known for doing unorthodox things like this, and the best example is when he became probably the first player ever to hit one pitch 3 times in one swing. This never happens because usually when other players do it, it's illegal. According to MLB rules, you cannot hit a fair ball twice. However, they put in a stipulation. If a broken bat hits a ball for a second time, that is fine. But the odds of this actually happening are slim to none. But with the bases loaded in Game 7 of the NLCS, Giants needed Hunter Pence to get a hit. He got jammed, broke his bat. His broken bat then hit the ball again, then somehow for a third time, creating weird spin and direction that threw off the fielder, turning what would have been a probable out or maybe double play into a 3 RBI double. Broken equipment can cause problems in MLB. They've helped teams lose, cost teams their season. They've been used as weapons and often totally
What the?
confuse everyone with strange rule stipulations. Earlier this year, in a 1 in 1 billion scenario, Justin Turner's helmet saved him from being tagged, and nobody could figure out if he should be safe or out. After this ball in the dirt, Turner broke for second and was nailed by a perfect throw. Turner was called out. However, technically, he was never tagged. His helmet was tagged. 99.9% of the time, if you get tagged in the helmet, you're obviously out, but Turner's helmet came off. Players' helmets come off running all the time. If you tagged a player's helmet that they were no longer wearing, they'd obviously be safe. But Turner's helmet was simultaneously off his head and touching his body at the moment it was tagged. This everybody.
Yeah, that is a tough one.
The Blue Jays decided to challenge, and according to the rule, your equipment is part of your body. If you get tagged on your equipment, you are out. But equipment is only considered worn if it's in contact with its intended part. So even though Turner's helmet was touching him, because it wasn't touching his head, it legally was able to act as a shield and somehow, against all odds,
so
actually
crazy.
block this tag, allowing him to be safe. Proving how important good equipment is. A good helmet will save you. A bad glove will screw you over.
Oh!
A broken ball can ruin everything. And a good bat is crucial. Unless you're Michael Morse, who literally hit a grand slam without a bat. In 2012, he hit a ball off a wall. He tried to go to second base, but for some reason, the runners on second and third didn't move. He ended up going back to first, making this a 375-foot single, except the ball clearly went over the fence. The umpires reviewed it, called it a grand slam, but since the runners never ran, the umpires got confused on which bases the runners had already touched, and then just made them all go back to their original base and reenact the home run, making Michael Morse hit a home run without a bat, which is almost as rare as hitting a home run with a bat that you're not even holding. Plenty of players have thrown their bats at balls in the dirt, got extremely lucky, and got hits on pitches they had no business swinging at in the first place. But Todd Frazier did something crazier. While facing the slowest pitcher in the league, Jamie Moyer, he saw a 72-mile-per-hour changeup, was way out in front, was so off balance, he literally threw his bat at it and ended up hitting a home run. But if hitting a homer without a bat is possible, is anything in baseball actually impossible? For example, there's only 3 outs in an inning in baseball, so you'd think the most strikeouts you can get in an inning is 3. Actually, no, because this guy somehow struck out 5 batters in 1 inning, made possible by this weird rule. If a batter swings and misses at strike 3, but the ball touches the ground, they can run to first. If they get there before the catcher can pick up the ball and throw it to first, they get to stay at first even though they struck out. It is extremely rare, unless you're this guy. He came into a game, struck out the first batter, then but the ball got away and he was safe at first. He then struck out the next batter, faced another guy, and struck out his 4th batter. It should have been the 3rd out, but this ball also got away and the runner was safe again. He then immediately struck out another batter. He ended up giving up a run and lost his team the lead while also having the most dominant inning of all time, tying the record with 5 strikeouts in 1 inning. It's only happened 4 times in minor league baseball history, but never once in MLB, making it one of the rarest events in baseball. According to Jay Kuda, it's more rare than a player hitting 2 grand slams in 1 inning. That's happened once. Rarer than striking out 20 batters in a game. That's happened 5 times, and even more rare than an immaculate inning. That's when a pitcher strikes out all 3 batters in 9 pitches, striking out each batter with only 3 pitches. It's the most dominant inning possible and is 4 times more rare than a perfect game. And the Astros somehow did it twice in 1 game. First, Luis Garcia did it in the 2nd inning, striking out 3 batters in 9 pitches. The odds of doing this once is 1 in 40,000. The odds of doing it twice in 1 game is 1 in 1.6 billion. And Phil Maton not only came into the game in the 7th and got another immaculate inning, he did it against the exact same 3 batters that Garcia did it against just 5 innings later. The odds of this happening are astronomical, higher than 1 in 1.6 billion, and probably not even possible to calculate. But it's not the rarest play in baseball, because even though an immaculate inning is rarer than a perfect game, it's not as rare as blowing a perfect game when you only need one more out to get it. This is one of the rarest and saddest things that happens in the sport. There's only been 24 perfect games in history. It's the pinnacle of achievement for a pitcher. Getting one puts you in the history books forever. But there's been 14 times a pitcher needed just one more out to get one, then blew it on the very last batter. This guy did something even more heartbreaking. In 1989, Dave Stieb was dominating. He struck out 11 batters and was 1 out away from throwing the 14th perfect game in history. Then, on a 2-0 count, Roberto Kelly lined a double to ruin the perfect game. And it gets way worse, because just a year prior, Stieb was going for his first ever no-hitter. He only needed 3 more outs, retired the first 2 batters, then got 2 strikes on Julio Franco, who hit a routine ground ball to second base. And it randomly took the worst hop you will ever see on a baseball field. If this ball doesn't take the worst time bad hop in history, Stieb would have a no-hitter. Instead, he got nothing. But Stieb couldn't be deterred, because in his very next start, he did something even crazier. He once again took a no-hitter into the 9th inning, and for the second time in the same week, he was 1 out away. He had 2 strikes on Jim Tabor, meaning for the second time in the same week, he was 1 strike away. Tabor then hit a weak bloop single just over the first baseman's head. Stieb lost 2 no-hitters in back-to-back starts, lost them both with 2 strikes on terrible hits, in total losing 3 no-hitters on the very last out in 1 year. This is statistically unheard of, but thankfully in 1990, Stieb finally threw the first Blue Jays no-hitter, breaking the curse forever. Losing a perfect game is losing a game because of a 3-run home run on a strikeout is even worse. And yes, hitting a 3-run home run on a strikeout is possible. It's never happened in MLB, but it did happen to this Japanese high school team and ruined their season. But before we get to that insanely depressing and unlikely story, a quick word from today's sponsor. Brought to you by Prize Picks, the most fun, and now you win. And if I lose, making it there is one of the biggest honors in Japanese sports. This team was 2 wins away from making it to the Koshin. They were shutting their opponents out through 4 innings. Up 3-0, facing the opponent's ace with runners on the corners, they struck him out on a nasty curveball. The defense ran off the field thinking the inning was over. Even the batter thought he was out, but his coach told him to start running, so he and his 2 teammates ran all the way around the bases and all scored, while the other team was in their dugout. This caused confusion, but the replay is clear. Since this strike 3 landed in the dirt, the drop third strike rule allows the batter to try to run to first before the catcher can tag him. Since the catcher was in the dugout, there was no one stopping him to go all the way around the bases. This tied the game, and the team who gave up the homer ended up losing 6-4, getting eliminated and ending their Koshin dreams, all because this guy hit a home run without hitting the ball. Nobody in MLB has ever hit a home run without hitting, but this guy once became a winning pitcher without even pitching. According to the rules, in order to be deemed a winning pitcher, your team has to win, you have to pitch at least 5 innings, and you have to leave the game with a lead. But there's exceptions. If a starter doesn't meet this criteria, a reliever can become a winning pitcher. Enter a game tied or behind, then leave the game winning. Alan Emfrey once came into a tie game, was about to throw a pitch when the runner stole second. He picked them off, the runner fell on his face, and eventually got out. Emfrey then left the game throwing 0 pitches, but got an out, so it still technically counted as an appearance. And when his team scored the next inning and won, he became the winning pitcher in a game he didn't even pitch in, proving you don't have to play to win a game. But if you do play, there's a chance you can simultaneously win a game and lose a game in the same game. And as impossible as that sounds, this guy did.
Yo, Bucko, yo, Buck, thanks for the 5 giftos, by the way, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Yo. Because he came to the plate against the Red Sox.
You know how it goes. Thank you, Buck, man. Appreciate you, brother.
The at-bat, the game was called due to rain. The makeup game then got rescheduled for August, where Jensen would take the rest of his at-bat. But before the game resumed, Jansen was traded from the Blue Jays to the Red Sox. This made everything extremely confusing. Jansen was supposed to start the game at the plate for the Blue Jays, a team he wasn't even on.
Wait a minute, dude. So these dudes don't finish their game.
He was the one at bat, dude. The game gets canceled, rain delay. They replay it a month later, but he's traded to the team that he's batting against.
That's insane. He gets traded to the team that he was batting against. So does he? They'll probably tell me. Does he play the bat?
He started it behind the plate for the Red Sox. So not only did he technically play for both teams in one game, he technically was the hitter and catcher in the same plate appearance. The Red Sox lost, but the official box score shows that Jansen played on both teams. So at the end of the game, he became the only player ever.
My man pitched to himself, statistically.
And lose in a game and catch and hit in the same at bat, and that will never happen again.
No, he didn't pitch to himself.
This is the rarest event
he batted
in baseball history. In
and
1999,
caught in the same at bat. He was the catcher and the batter.
With her husband and kids, they only had one car. She didn't know anything
Sorry,
about baseball and said she had never been to a game because the family couldn't afford it. But she heard about a radio contest that allowed a lucky fan to win 4 free tickets to a Diamondbacks game. She called, got selected, and won the tickets. Based on the listenership, the odds of winning this contest alone was 1 in 300,000. But they also offered her a chance to play a game. She had to predict one player to hit a grand slam, then guess what inning they would hit that grand slam in. And if that player hit a grand slam in that inning, she would win $1 million. Knowing any of the players, she and her husband randomly guessed Jay Bell to hit a home run in the 6th inning. The odds Jay Bell would hit a homer were low. The odds Jay Bell would even bat in the 6th inning were also low. The odds the bases would just so happen to be loaded when he batted in the 6th inning were even lower. The odds any player would hit a grand slam were extremely low. But the odds that Jay Bell would come up to the plate in the 6th, where the bases just so happened to be loaded, and then hit a grand slam were next to none. Compounded with the 300 to 1 odds she had to even get picked in the first place, this is an impossible scenario. But when
she basically was born human again, you know what I mean? Like they just gave her a second life. You know, they're just like, your luck's crazy.
Bell's spot came up in the order. It just so happened to come up in the 6th inning, and against all odds, the bases were loaded. The promotion was announced in the stadium, and everybody, including Jay Bell, knew if he hit a homer, this lady...
They even knew! So this dude had to go up with that pressure?
...would win $1 million. Bell says he was so nervous, his legs were shaking, but on a 3-2 count, he hit a grand slam. The stadium went insane, but not for the grand slam. For this lady who just won $1 million, which the dairy company Shamrock Farms was required to pay her. They were probably the only ones in the world not excited about this home run. And based on this, it's safe to say that no company will ever offer this deal again, making this the rarest play.
Bro, what? Didn't know the players at all. Her first game ever, right?
That's a good video, wasn't it?
Has to call the inning, has to call the batter, has to be a grand slam. That company was chilling, dude. No fucking way we're paying that. Holy shit. That's insane. That was honestly crazy. Oh my God.